All right, well, hey, thanks for joining us on this episode. We're excited to be here with Corey, who is the executive chef and one of the owners here at the hotel and here at the Red Herring. So thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for coming and hanging with us,
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit, your downtown here used to be, it's the Containery, the old Containery, where y'all refabbed it to be a hotel and restaurants and a pretty cool venue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of how y'all got started here?
We spent the better part of 2 years, almost 3 years, like planning this thing out and getting it right and just kind of figuring out what kind of vibe we want to bring to Waco. This building that we're sitting in here is an old city depot. From what we understand, it used to be a city depot. Mm-hmm. And so there's all these little cutouts in the wall. Yeah. That's actually where the horses used to stick their
very cool.
their nose and mouth out and actually like kind of eat. And then as it kind of progressed, it went to like, horses and buggies, like, old-timey cars, and then eventually I think the city moved it up the river. But so we literally just like cleaned it and covered it just to really kind of make it feel of the place. You can even see some like lettering that's still on the wall there, like all of that's original. Yeah. The brooms and shovel, which there was a time I wanted to call this place Brooms and Shovel because I just thought that'd be kind of hilarious.
So why the Red Herring?
Why call it Red Herring?
Yes.
Like any kind of those stories that like kind of want to bury the lead and kind of give you little drops and pieces and then do a little redirect. Yeah. That's what a red herring is. It's like, a redirect of the narrative they're trying to put out. And I really like the idea of what this place was and what it looks like on the outside and virtually and like how we did it on the inside. Okay. And so it very much is that like welcoming to like this whole new thought process and like putting you into a different story. And it definitely, the name definitely kind of guided us into the type of food we ended up serving.
So what's kind of the flair of the restaurant here as far as the cuisine?
Coastal Mediterranean. So like if the city or the region or the country touches the Mediterranean, we're drawing inspiration from it. And kind of instead of, like there's fusion cuisine over here and Mexican food with Japanese food or whatever, but like we wanted to kind of take this region and make them all feel very united. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job of keeping that narrative together.
Is there a favorite on the menu?
My personal favorites, like the very first dish that I wrote down, like I want to do this, was this. I gone to Saba in New Orleans, Alon Shaya's restaurant down there, and he does this crispy short rib hummus. And I really like the idea of like taking something that's very familiar in short rib and like kind of treating it almost like you would like carnitas, and then putting that with this like very bright, rich hummus and pita. And so what we do here is we do very garlicky hummus with duck confit. So again, bringing in all of those different regions. So the hummus, from Greece, Turkey, North Africa, and then the duck confit from France, and then the harissa that we dress it with from North Africa, and blending all those together and putting it together as one dish with our sourdough pita. It's pretty good. Wow. Honestly, it's my favorite bite. Oh, and like we have all that skin from the duck left over, so we take the skin off of the duck that we've confit, and we fry that to make little duck cracklings and sprinkle that over the top. It's a lot.
That's fun.
That sounds good.
But it's a small bite that has like packs a big punch.
That's great.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait to try it. Yeah. So tell us a little bit too. You have a couple other locations here that you can kind of get some food and drink. You have the bar. Yeah. That's the rooftop bar, and you've also got a wine and cheese shop called the Songbird, correct?
Yeah. So the rooftop bar is Lucky Bucks. It's funny. I think rooftop bars, I think in other cities, it's more of like the high-end side of things. It's like a little bit more fancy, and we're like, we don't need another fancy place on site. Like, let's do like beer and hot dogs. And so it's literally just like really good. I mean, the hot dogs we're getting are 44 Farms, or they're another Akaushi Polish sausage that we get for a couple of our other dogs, and then Martin's potato roll, which is like the best bun you can possibly find. And we just kind of have fun with like different hot dog styles, open year round, but we try to keep it open as often as we can, weather permitting. Right now we're open from 6 to midnight. But then Songbird is our wine and cheese shop, where it's kind of, if you're wanting a glass of rosé or an Aperol Spritz. Aperol Spritz is on tap, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna move to a couple of more draft cocktails on tap, that is Songbird as well. But just a constant rotation of different cheeses and meats that we're sourcing either locally or we're bringing in like really specific international cheeses that we're in love with, or like across the United States, some of the different artisan cheeses and meat purveyors that are making some really, really good stuff right now.
It's great.
Which is, it feels like a lot, as you talk about it, it's like, wow, that's a lot of things.
Well, and you haven't even mentioned the hotel yet, so
I
why
haven't
don't you tell us
talked
a little
about
bit
the
about the hotel?
Or like events that we do. But yeah, so the hotel, 21 rooms. Like we talked about previously with the culinary project, they were kind of thinking of it as more of like the containers as units. So like one container, so a container is 8 foot wide by 40 feet long. And each of those were to be a different business. And so obviously with the hotel room, like 8 feet wide is not really big enough. And I think that's whenever we announced first that we were gonna build a hotel here, I think the first thing people thought about was like, that's not big enough, which is not big enough. But taking the floor plan and kind of ripping out all the internal walls and rethinking how best to see. I mean, you walked through it earlier.
Yeah.
You can. It feels bigger and different in it than you expect it to, right?
It's really unique.
And it's super cool. And like each room is really different. Like there's not really one that's like the same as before, which made for design and purchasing and completion very fun and exciting. But I think that what the Rad Lab team in Freeform were able to do with Taylor League, who is the designer of the space, what they were able to accomplish is really special. And I hope people get to have the opportunity either from out of town or like come in and do a little staycation action. It's a lot easier than like going to an Airbnb and stay. It's like just come and hang out and just kick it for the night, go to a concert, have some drinks, have a glizzy up top, and mosey on back to your room.
No, I think it's a great place. Very cool with the ballroom that you kind of alluded to, that you can have corporate events and weddings and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
I think would be great for like private parties, and then neat hotel, and then also the retail spaces we didn't really even get into, but you've got multiple different vendors that are leasing out some spots. So
so the ones that we've confirmed are, so Sendero will have its first retail space here at Herringbone. Repose, which is a partnership with the folks that brought You Fabled and Gather. They're creating it's more of a home goods store, and then also we're bringing Nightlight Donuts here as well to have a downtown location, which I think for the Baylor crowd and just people as we get more foot traffic down in downtown Waco, I think it's going to be really good for us as well.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
We so appreciate you visiting with us.
Thanks for having us out.
It really is a cool place, and so I would definitely encourage all you guys visiting Waco, or if you're a Wacoan here in town, definitely come check it out. It's a really cool property, super unique to Central Texas, and so thanks for joining us.